welcome back, guys, to another episode of Keeping It Real with TNL. I'm Coach Ty here with Coach Lori, and today we have a special guest with us. This is Carrie, and she is the owner of Insulin Fit Consulting. Welcome, Carrie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited. So for those watching, Carrie and I met at a BSI Med Society gathering in Southern California in January of this year. Dr. Luke hosted it. He's great. I'm sure people watching this have seen him all over social media as well, doing great things. We got to spend a lot of time getting to know each other, and I was like, this woman's like phenomenal. I love what you do. I love your story. And I can't wait for you to share it with everyone watching today so we can get you out there and what you're doing out to everyone and help a lot of people. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Excellent. So really quick, Carrie, right before we do our interview, we just got to do a quick little spiel about one of our programs, and then we're going to dive in and go through the questions, and we're going to let the world know all about you. But guys, as you guys know, you've been hearing it around here at CrossFit San Ramon, as well as all over the internet, all over YouTube, about the StrongHer, then the rest program that we have going on. This is a small group training specifically targeted for women who want to increase their strength, improve their metabolic conditioning, as well as learn how to eat properly so that they can fuel performance. So this begins August 18th. So that means that the applications are due August the 16th. So please, if this is something that you are interested in, if any of those benefits sound like something that are right up your alley, you need to email Coach Lori immediately, and then she'll pass on if you're interested, and I will reach out to you, and you will go through the interview process to see if you will be chosen, because this is not for everybody. This is a special program that we have, and we are only going to choose the people who we feel are going to make it the best that it could be. So that's all we have about that. But Carrie, let's jump in all about you. So Carrie, we obviously mentioned you're the owner of Insulin Fit Consulting. But first off, just kind of let us know who you are and how you got into this whole entire health space.
Yeah, so I've been a registered nurse for 16 years. I started back at Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach, Southern California, in CCU, CVICU. I was there for several years and decided to transition out of that into critical care transports on an ambulance. I was doing that again for several years and then decided to take another leap and went into critical care transports and 911 calls on a helicopter. And then now currently I am in public health.
Wow. Yeah, pretty big jumps there.
Yeah.
Like, so hold on really quick. Now we're gonna get off the script. So this happens a whole lot. I'm gonna give you the heads up that we usually use a script just to keep us in check. But when you come at us with cool stuff like this, we ought to have some more details. So tell what was the day like doing the helicopter stuff? Like, talk about that. That just seems very interesting and not something that we usually hear a lot about.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was very high adrenaline, high stress, but just awesome. I mean, it was a great job. I absolutely loved it.
What's the most common call just that you would need a helicopter for? I'm just curious, like is it usually like search and rescue type things, or what did you do the most like in that particular game?
Yeah, we would do some like 911 calls, meaning like car crashes, car went under a semi truck, boat crashes. So a lot of trauma if they were 911 calls, or just extremely sick from like going from ICUs to higher level of care, a hospital that can do a treatment that maybe the hospital they were at can't do, or just the level of care just was they needed to go somewhere higher.
Absolutely, yeah. I would say a lot of people probably don't even know that a trauma center and a normal hospital aren't the same thing, and there's only a certain amount of like actual trauma centers that you could utilize for major things of that nature.
Right.
Very, very cool stuff.
That's intense. I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to go back in time. We're going to roll the clock back. In 2018, you had a diagnosis, and it kind of changed the course of the focus for your health and the passion that you feel for other people's health. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So in 2018, I was diagnosed with prediabetes and completely shocked and in denial, couldn't believe it, and decided I didn't do anything about it at that time. I really thought I would come back for my next annual exam in 2019, and it was just going to be back to normal. Like there's just no way that this was true. And
Yeah.
in 2019, it came back like point 0.1. So it was 6.2, came back point 0.1 away from, or point 0.2 at that time, away from full blown diabetes. And I'm like, oh, wow, I guess this is real. I guess I do need to do something about it. And that kind of started the thought process, at least, of I need to do something. And being a nurse, knowing what it looks like on the other side, I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want the prescription pills, the slippery slope, one given and then another, and continuous on that journey.
Yeah, that's tough. That resonates with us because we have friends and members that are like, oh, I'm just pre-diabetic and just keep living life the same. And it's like, and the numbers are higher. And then I'm like, and now you're diabetic, right? So,
Yeah.
how did, I mean, I know you were in healthcare and it never shut down, but how did COVID affect you with medical attention and blood tests and like going forward? When did you make that switch to say, okay, I've got to make a change and this is the change that I need to get out of metabolic dysfunction?
Yeah. So 2020, I didn't see a doctor. I don't think many people, unless you were sick, even then, people were avoiding. So it wasn't until 2021 when I went back and got, again, my labs came back at 6.2, my A1C. And at that point in time, I was ready to make a change and try things. Like, I got to do something about this. And I joined CrossFit. I started eating better to what I thought, because again, your doctors tell you diet and exercise. And even as a nurse, I'm like, what exactly does that mean? Like,
Ah,
yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do what I think it is. I included some intermittent fasting and came back again in 2022. I lost 20 pounds in that year. So through my own efforts, 20 pounds, and came back. And my A1C in 2023 still came back up higher. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. I guess I'm going to have to make some drastic changes. I was then at that time already considering I want to be able to help people navigate through the healthcare system so they don't have to go through like what I did, because I felt like I approached my doctor, I asked them for a referral to a dietitian, a nutritionist, an endocrinologist. Like I was searching for help, searching for answers, searching for education, and I wasn't getting it through the healthcare system. That was 2021 when I first started. I went to a dietitian, and the dietitian was telling me just the standard American diet. I'm like, I knew that wasn't the answer because that's what I was already doing. I'm like, that's not working. I asked her, I asked her and I told her at the same time that I was looking for somebody who can kind of think outside the box, because I was already starting to dig my feet into these alternative ways like metabolic health and how can I go about doing it. And needless to say, I did not go back. So in 2022 is when I started searching for a nurse coach, and I wanted to be coached by somebody before I jumped into the nurse coach program myself. And I was able to find a nurse coach who specialized in the ketogenic diet, and she was absolutely amazing. Supplied me with lots of resources, and I was eager to learn. I just like gobbled it all up. She led me to Dr. Ben Bickman and Insulin IQ, and they have a program that reverse insulin resistance in 90 days. And so I did that. I started the program. I went strict keto in 2022, and by February of 2023, my A1C came back at 5.4. So I went from 6.3 to 5.4 within the 90 days. And that's,
wow.
yeah. And that's when I was convinced and realized the importance of nutrition.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So impressive.
That's impressive. So really quickly, I want to go over just a few things about that. So do you mind sharing so was it the keto diet switch that was the game changer, or what exactly about this 90-day protocol? If you can't share it, I don't know if it's like a secretive thing, but if it's not, like what was so special about this 90-day protocol compared to what you were doing exactly prior to that? Just so people could kind of see, because maybe they're in that same spot of like they've been doing this, but this is the thing that actually works.
Yeah. So I was eating kind of like regular standard American diet. I would still go out to eat. I would do intermittent fasting. Maybe I was only doing OMAD, 1 meal a day. So I'd fast, but then I would go out and eat a lot of food at a restaurant. Like, still not the best of foods. I still
So
wasn't.
still probably bread or starches and some of those common things.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I didn't cut any of that stuff out. So when I went keto, I was low carbs, like less than 20 grams of carbs a day. And I was tracking and testing ketones and blood sugars at that point in time.
So I'm just curious, maybe you could help some of our members. So we just recently started a small group program focused on weight loss, and some of them are probably doing keto for their first time. What can someone expect like week 1, week 2, week 3? Because I know it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to. Do you mind sharing your experience going on the keto journey for some of our viewers?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I was working out pretty rigorously. At the time, I was preparing for a half Ironman, which I ended up not completing, but I was training for at the time. And so my training was really intense at the time, and I did not know, one of the biggest things in hindsight, I did not know training in while your body is kind of adapting to become fat adapted. The training, you might need to kind of pull back a little bit if you're doing intense strenuous training. So that was a extreme struggle for me getting through my trainings, because I wasn't holding back. So
Uh,
I wasn't at the time. I wasn't familiar. Like, I was, yeah, just going for it. So that would be one of the things that, I guess, in hindsight, looking back, um, and then you can be tired and lethargic a little bit. So making sure you're getting your electrolyte replacements in the beginning, I would say that's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Now, when did you start feeling like, oh my God, something's happened? Like, I like when did you start feeling a little more like at your peak? Like, okay, this is really working. Like the weight's coming off. I'm now feeling my energy coming back. I'm feeling stronger than ever. When in your journey did that start to creep up?
Yeah, I would say maybe a couple of months. I feel like maybe it took a little bit for myself, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, maybe a couple of months.
Couple months.
So fast in the grand scheme of things, isn't it? Like a
Yeah,
few months
right.
versus years of being pre-diabetic and like just trudging through the quicksand to get through. So that's really impressive.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because people will hear 2 months and be like, "Oh my God!" But in reality, bro, that's 60 days.
yeah. It's
Like, what are we really talking here? That's a real small blip, and it just takes some discipline. Now, obviously, it was clearly worth it, right?
yeah,
Worth getting used to it, worth being disciplined through the process to see the result that you eventually got.
definitely.
And then the last thing, and I'm not trying to scare people, but obviously you as a nurse has said something that I like. You get to see what having diabetes looks like played out over a long period of time and how people live. And obviously, people who just find out. Can you kind of share what diabetes looks like for someone who's had it for years and doesn't make changes? What does that look like? Because I don't think that people truly know how it starts to tank health entirely.
Yeah, I saw, unfortunately, the sickest of the sick working in the ICU, with the diabetic patients, dealing with limbs being removed, gastric bypass surgery, and gastric bypass surgery going wrong, and all this complications thereafter. Um, Yeah, those are probably the main ones. Necrotic tissue and like I said, leading to limbs being removed and then gastric bypass gone wrong. Those are probably the main ones.
So those are those high end, like, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't, what would you, I don't want to, I'm not trying to make it worse, but what was is there, how does this whole limb, losing a limb work? Like what, can you explain how it gets to that point?
Yeah, so like diabetic neuropathy, they can't feel the numbness, tingling. They usually end up with a wound on their foot. That wound becomes infected. It becomes necrotic, meaning the tissue is dying. Once that tissue dies and it gets too bad, then they can't save that limb and they end up having to amputate it because of the infection getting so bad.
And then I know that me and you both know the answer to this, but just for anybody listening, could that possibly have been prevented?
Yeah, now learning what I've learned and what I've gone through and knowing, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
All right.
excellent. Okay, so let's rewind to last year, 2024. You joined the Nurse Coach Collective, right? We're talking about that. And then you also joined the Broken Science Medical Society. So talk to us about how that's helped shape the path that you're on today.
Yeah, that's been like I feel BSI and MetFix have been tying like they're tying all of this together for me. What I've been looking into, researching, studying, and doing fitness and nutrition, and then the science, like learning the back end of it, like just amazing and has been mind blowing. And I it was just in awe when I came across it. Excited for what's up and coming and still to come.
Yeah, a point I want to bring up. So I thought about this because our gym's been here since 2008, and you started CrossFit in 2021. But when I started CrossFit in 2011 or 12, it was still nutrition was a big part of it. Like you would have been told to go paleo or on the zone instead of just being left to do CrossFit and eat your standard American diet. And it really speaks volumes to the shift that happened upon Greg's departure from CrossFit in 2020. And what I hear from a lot of people that have just found CrossFit in like 2021 to like that's the difference between MetFix and CrossFit, amongst many other things. But the whole focus of BSI and MetFix is like nutrition, health, wellness, being on the sickness, fitness, wellness continuum, staying in the wellness.
Yeah.
And I love that you found BSI because, like you said, then it's like full circle. Everything comes together. And now there's this whole like organization of like-minded people and people that created it that are like, no, we're going to teach people how to eat and why and what we're doing. And we're going to start it as a grassroots. And we're just one person to the next, to the group, to the next, and watch the health change in this country and on global standard now. They're all over the world. So I just wanted to point that out. So I'm like, see, there's someone else in 2021 that joined CrossFit, but wasn't like, we used to call it indoctrinated into the way of eating because it was like that. Like our entire gym here used to be all paleo, like literally, and a couple people zone and a couple people keto, but like everybody knew at CrossFit San Ramon how to eat, and everyone was infinitely healthier and not much chronic disease, metabolic dysfunction, or anything back then. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my experience has unfortunately not really been that like with the nutrition part of it at my
Yeah.
at my box.
Yeah. There's far between that are left. Sorry, but
Yeah.
so that we're around long enough to continue the nutrition as much as people will listen to us. You're kind of like the Pied Piper, but maybe like three little rats instead of like thousands behind you. Like it's harder with nutrition now. I think there's a level of normalizing crap food and eating that makes those of us that eat correctly and healthy look like we're the odd man out and obnoxious, right? Do you
Right.
feel, I mean, I feel that. Like, you want to go out to dinner with friends, they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
can't you just eat normal for one night? I'm like, but
Yeah.
deep fried steak with mashed potatoes and gravy isn't normal. I can't do that tonight. Like
Yeah.
it's a definite shift in the mindset of people with food lately, a percentage of them. So Sorry.
No,
You're gonna say something.
no. This is good. I was going to say, obviously, yeah, because it clearly sounds like if MetFix would have been around by the time that you had heard about you having this pre-diabetes, then you would have known exactly where to start and what to do.
Yeah.
So clearly, like that's it. MetFix adds value because most people, like you said, they just even someone who is a dietitian may not give you this type of information. So very very crucial. So I was told you were at the seminar in Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
How
same.
so let's speak to that. How was the seminar? And then obviously you being in the medical profession, who would you recommend should probably take this seminar? Because you've been in and around the health space and you completely have a different level of understanding than most. So obviously going to that seminar, did you find it helpful? Like, did you learn anything new? And then who would you recommend this seminar to?
Yeah, no, I thought the seminar was amazing. Seeing Greg was amazing. I mean, hearing him talk, he's just such a brilliant man, which is inspiring, really. It was great to see people, familiar faces. It was awesome to meet new people. And like who I would recommend for this and what they like would learn. I think anybody interested in improving their health, they're on their own health journey, and or somebody interested in teaching others. I think every CrossFit coach, this is going out there. Every CrossFit coach should be MetFix certified. Because really, nutrition, you can't outrun a bad diet, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
nutrition is one of the foundations, one of the key pillars in health, and yeah, and then bringing it back to healthcare providers. The more, the better. We need to infiltrate the healthcare system. We need to, from the inside out. Let's help these people see that there is a way out. There is a way away from chronic disease.
I love that.
I was,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to ask one more thing. I'm just curious about from being a nurse as long as you have you seen any change in the health industry starting to at least tell people about this stuff, or is it still something that's kind of kept in the dark? And I'm just saying that because we've talked to people at Verta Health who specialize in reversing insulin. You obviously work with professionals who specialize in that, so it's becoming like more clear. Like there's a way to do it. So is this beginning to at least filter into your industry, or are they still sticking to that saying, well, just eat some good carbs and eat healthy? Like is that still the same talk or what?
Yeah. I think mainstream for the majority, it's still, when I read the medical charts and paperwork and whatnot, it says diet and exercise, diet and exercise. Those are the words I come across over and over and over again. And they don't have time to tell you, teach you, show you, guide you what that means exactly. It takes too much time. I think the people that are adopting this way, seeing a different way, they're stepping outside of the mainstream. They're becoming direct primary care for the doctors, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even the dietitians, nutritionists within the healthcare system being paid or reimbursed by insurance companies. They are telling American Diabetes what the American Diabetes Association is stating, which is the standard American diet.
Yeah.
Those
the low fat, high carb. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Yeah, they still harp on that all the time.
That's terrible. Yeah, and that's what's obviously tough because obviously you being in there knowing like, oh my God, you might as well just tell them to kill themselves. Like, what are you guys doing here? Like, are we going to fix this or not? So obviously, yeah, I am glad that things like MetFix are becoming more popular, just so the general public, like this information is going to start become a lot more accessible and easier to find. But it also helps when someone who is in the field and already is a professional can speak to it, because people look at you in a different light. Like if you're talking about health and fitness, I don't look at you like I would, and I'm not being mean, but like some kid working at 24-hour fitness telling me about how to eat right. So obviously it carries more weight coming from an actual person in the health field. Very, very cool just to kind of hear you just say like, yeah, MetFix is where it's at. Like, this is the information that's going to help. This isn't nonsense.
Well, tell us about your training. You just completed some more training. You have a ton of certifications and what that means for insulin fit consulting too. It's a big deal.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've been working hard, getting some certifications done, just kind of booking them one after another. In 2024, I got my CrossFit level 1. I started BSI. I joined BSI Medical Society, and then 2025, kicking it off with starting the business, the Insulin IQ certified coach. So I got that certification, nutrition network. I'm a level 2 practitioner over there, and I'm starting a new program, nutritional therapy practitioner, next month, which will be a year-long program, but they specialize in the digestive system, sleep, in like supplements in functional labs. So looking forward to that
Awesome.
program, expanding
Yeah.
expanding everything.
Never stop learning. There's so much great stuff out there. I love
Yeah.
that. I'll run this by you because this is one of the things I'm kicking around, and you can come here, and then I can come to your neck of the woods, which isn't that far, but far enough. I'm creating like a workshop called Bridging the Gap Between Healthcare and Health and Fitness. And it's fun because a lot of my patients are like nurse practitioners or somewhere in the medical industry. And there's this huge gap between, like you say, go to the doctor and it says diet and exercise, or take a statin, or take a BP med and just be done with the symptoms, right? And so I want to talk about MetFix and the science behind nutrition and what we're doing and how we actually reverse chronic disease, how we can take you from pre-diabetic to completely out of insulin resistance and normal. You put in the work, and it could be 3-4 months, it could be 2 months, whatever it is. And that could be something we could team up on too, because then you've got, the MetFix affiliate, you've got the nurse with all these certifications and who actually rolled back her own basically type 2 diabetes, right? And then your understanding of insulin and insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity is like next level. And it's such a disconnect for people. Like, I think in our gym, especially, like if you say insulin resistance again, they're gonna be like, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go to Curbs or something. I'm leaving here. But it's just like, we small drips with the daily or the Monday fix that we write up here, like this coming Monday's about visceral fat. Because again, there's this whole disconnect between cholesterol and eating healthy and what that means. But it's something to think about. If you're not busy enough, like I'm quote unquote not busy enough either, we could put together this thing and just like hit the ground running and take care of the microcosm that is my area and your area with health professionals, and just let that little, puff of glitter just sprinkle over everything and just dissipate over and around. It's something to think about. So,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, for sure. That sounds great.
yeah.
All right, are we ready for the rapid fire question?
We could be. You ready for rapid fire questions? You should tell our viewers how to get a hold of you for Insulin Fit Consulting. And if you want to talk about, your mission statement or what it is you hope to accomplish with everyone that comes to you, let's do that first, and then we'll rapid fire on the questions that are just fun, really.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So I can be reached at insulinfitconsulting.com. I offer free consultations, so we're able to kind of get to know each other a little bit, make sure that it's a good fit. And I'm looking to help stop the spread of chronic disease and empower individuals to take back control of their health.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
and
huge.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
Empowering the individual, right? Let them.
Yeah.
They can do.
I mean, it's everything. We've all been there. It's not like anyone on this podcast right now could honestly say, yeah, I just sat there and always felt emboldened with the doctor telling them, like throughout your life, there's different parts where you're just like, well, maybe they do know, and maybe I am wrong, or maybe I'm not working out hard enough that my standard American diet isn't making me healthy. Like, we've all had that moment. So empowering people to know that we have so much more control over our health than we are ever led to believe, right? It's that whole like the white coat comes in and you're just like submissive kindergartner, first day school, hands in the lap, whatever you say. And no one's asking anyone to be like disrespectful or mouthy back or be like, oh, I Googled it. Like, but because then doctors are like, stop Googling, which people should, because then they diagnose themselves with 85 things. My mom does this all the time. So, but the thing is like empowering people to just ask the questions that makes the doctor think about the answers too, or that they don't have the answers, right? And then how do we help doctors help others? And it was one of the things that we learned in the MetFix seminars. We don't know what we don't know, and I use that quote a lot for a lot of things now. Like, I have a patient it's one of the new people in the weight loss group, and I give them an intake form and I'm asking for like 20 different markers, right? And most of them are the basic panel, but in bold letters it says fasting insulin. And I know you're not going to be shocked by this, but her Kaiser doctor's like, I can do all of them but the fasting insulin. So then I tell her, good, then when you have your call with him tomorrow, which is actually today, say, hey, if you can't test my fasting insulin, I want you to mark it in my chart that you refuse to do it. And I'm going to go do it elsewhere because with my gene mutation A, B, C, D, and E, this test is the most important of all the ones I'm asking for. And then make him accountable for acting like it's not a big deal, right? But that's still such a crazy thing here. And in my heart, I hope that they just don't know what they don't know, but how we could prevent all the prediabetes, all the metabolic dysfunction with knowing if someone is creeping into insulin resistance or just like living the high life of big numbers of fasting insulin, right? Like, do you still run into that in your area too, where they're like, insulin's not that important, glucose and A1C,
Yeah, no, I mean, I had to go through that myself. Like doctors looking at me, why do you want an insulin? They just question it. You're lucky if they run it. Thankfully now we can go and kind of run our own labs nowadays, which is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. No, it's sad. But I mean, I guess one of the things that I like to, we need to educate the healthcare providers, the doctors. They need to be inquisitive, though. That's another thing with the doctors. You like if you have a patient and they go from sick to well, they should be curious. How did you do it? If they're not curious, in my opinion, it's time to find a new doctor.
Naturally, I say, yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm curious.
But we need to educate them also at the same time. It's kind of like we want the patient to get the best care because we're kind of advocating for them, and we also want to help and teach the healthcare providers, but they also have to be willing.
That's true. I consider how stressful and exhausting it must be for the average Kaiser doctor that has a patient every 10 to 15 minutes. So they don't even have time to really even get past the most immediate symptom, like, okay, you're diabetic and what else? And my feet are going numb. Oh my God, double medicine, and there will be nothing about food because they don't even have time to go and read all the journals that have been debunked, right? Like medical journals and articles that are absolute crap. I mean, everyone watching this should really go to brokenscience.org and educate yourself. But for these poor doctors that don't have time, they might get set for training on something, but it's always about like a big pharma thing. Like, what's the newest drug for this? Or why are we pushing Ozempic, the billion-dollar industry of weight loss? And they're missing the point of like, well, what can we do so that people don't need Ozempic? Or that people don't need a statin, or that kind of thing. So you're right. We have to educate each other and help them get information without needing to sit down and spend an extra 20 hours a week reading through journals or listening to really poignant podcasts about the truth and things. So we'll get there one person at a time, right?
Definitely one person at a time.
I love it. All right. So rapid fire.
It's time for the rapid fire question. So this is something that we do with all of our guests who come on the show. These aren't weird or awkward like truth or dare questions. It's nothing like that. These are fun, random questions just to kind of throw them at you and see what your responses are. So Coach Laura is going to kick it off with question one, and I'll be following after that.
All right, my busy friend. What's your ideal vacation? Because I'm sure you're overdue for one. Ideal vacation.
Oh yes, I love clear waters, white sandy beaches, tropical weather. Yes,
Beautiful.
so but I would
I
love
hope you
to.
have one planned.
Yes. For
Yeah.
what?
I said, I hope you have one planned.
Potentially next year. Yes.
There you go. Goalpost. I love it.
All right. The next question. What is your favorite restaurant in your area?
Oh
And
man,
why?
I'm gonna have to say my kitchen.
Okay.
Yes. I
That's-
rarely,
that's-
I rarely eat out. Yeah, I really try not to. So my kitchen.
Okay.
I love it.
Like that.
Okay, so I'll build off that one. What is your favorite go-to meal? What's a meal that you'll never get tired of cooking or eating and you love it?
I love a good steak. I love ground beef. I really prioritize the protein, eggs. Those are my go-tos. I was carnivore for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I just started adding back in carbs this year, with those carbs, whole foods. So vegetables and a couple of fruits so far. But, yeah.
There you go.
So
Awesome.
steak and veggies, I would say number one.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I could ask the question you always
Yeah.
ask. Yeah, you always ask this question.
All right. So the next question: if you could have lunch with anybody dead or alive, and you could ask them anything and talk to them about anything you want, and as I always say, this could be someone from Jesus or Beyonce. It doesn't matter. It's everything in between. Who would be the one person who you would want to just sit down and just talk to and just
Ask away.
ask away?
I would say I'm going to say multiple people, my grandparents, only because I was pretty young when they passed. So I would love to have had more interactions with them.
Yeah, I love that. Oh.
I like that. I like that.
All right, so the last one, favorite book or something you're reading now that's just can't say enough good things about?
I'm listening to a podcast. My new passion is learning quantum biology and how sunlight, artificial light, and sleep, like your circadian rhythm, has on your metabolic health.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, one of our coaches here, she's a big buff into the effects of artificial light on humans. Like
Yeah.
to the point where she's done like science experiments. Like it's over the top weird how interested she is in that one topic. But I'm just saying like that's
Yeah.
her like little niche thing.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What are some of the takeaways that you've gotten from that book that you want to share with us?
Yeah. Well, I have a new book. I haven't read it yet, but it's called the Light Doctor. So it's in that kind of in that realm. But like on the whole artificial light, they're calling it junk light, and it's just as bad, if not, it's just as bad as like junk food, or artificial light or junk light.
What
Yeah.
like okay. So now we were gonna wrap it up, but there's a little bit.
You got a few more
Yeah,
minutes.
you got a few more. So how so? Like it is so funny too because this reminds me of two things that I've been hearing recently. I've been hearing obviously a whole lot that sitting too long is the new smoking. Like it's just as bad as smoking. And now this is the first time that I'm hearing that artificial light is as bad as junk food. So just help me like piece how we've
Yeah.
come to that point.
Okay. So artificial light, it's high in blue light. And the only time our bodies are exposed to high amounts of blue light is really kind of midday. And the sunlight exposure is telling us we have a full spectrum of light rays within the sun, and it's telling our bodies what, how much, and when to release hormones. So the lack of exposure to the sunlight, and the increase of exposure to artificial light is affecting our hormones. And it's increasing our sympathetic nervous system, increasing our cortisol, which increases our blood glucose, insulin levels, this whole snowball effect. And also it decreases our release of melatonin, which then affects our sleep. It's like a rabbit hole.
We gotta get down there.
Are you down there?
I mean, that's
Good stuff.
it makes sense because like the objective is to be parasympathetic and just calm down, like you meditate. So if I meditate, do a guided meditation and get up and start scrolling my phone and I'm not wearing blue blockers, right? Remember those? They're still thing. Like I'm just putting the junk back in and basically negating getting parasympathetic from the meditation.
Yeah. So the blue light from the light exposure from your phone in the middle of the night is then preventing or slowing down the release of like the melatonin, for example. I mean, for instance, the casinos. You're in the casinos. How do you stay up all night in the casinos? It's light. The light has a major contributing factor to that.
This is good stuff.
We're gonna have to do another episode with you just on this.
Just on the artificial lights on.
It's wild.
Very, very cool.
Oh, I love that.
So last thing, because I don't want to just in case we actually do an actual episode too, because we'll have to read up. So you can obviously speak to it as well. But did they give any type of recommendation for how much outside time we should be trying to get with the real sun, and how much time we should try to cut our exposure to the artificial light? Like, was there any recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the more the better, right? So unfortunately, most of our jobs nowadays we're indoors. They say about 90% of the time we're indoors. So if you can make sure, like really a good starting practice would be to make sure to see the sunrise. See the sunrise, get outside, take a little walk, and then just make sure you're getting in at least intermittent exposure throughout the day. Go out
Okay.
at break time, go out on your lunch time, and then again the sunset, because the sunrise and sunset is high in the infrared light, and that's really good for our bodies, the infrared lights.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect.
That makes sense. So I know it's probably feeling like summer where you're at. Well, what, like an hour and a half apart, maybe 2 hours, not that far apart. But here in the East Bay, it's been we've had fog and cold, but yesterday was the first day that it hit 90 in August. We're having a really cool summer, and I'm feeling the effects of not being out in the sun. You're just laying out, hanging outside. Like we're always in a building, like even in a gym, like most of it's inside. And yesterday the sun came out, and I'm not even joking. I was finishing the workout, and I took off my t-shirt to run in a sports bra to get the first bit of sun in like 3 weeks. Because it's just cold here. Yeah, so you can feel that, and I want to sit out, like we try to go on the patio and have coffee in the morning when the sun's coming up, and I'm thinking it's foggy. It's just like it's been the craziest summer, but I feel crappier when I don't get out in the sun. So you've convinced me. I'm gonna have to get on this podcast and listen.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, even when it's cloudy, the infrared is still like, I think it's like 43%, 50% of the light in the air. So you're still getting that infrared exposure. The only thing you're not getting is the UVB, which is the vitamin D. How you'll get the vitamin D.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
So this also has me super happy. I just recently started a new hobby where I'm going to be doing a lot of kayaking. So I'll be out in the sun on the water a lot. So that's going to be cool to know that now I'm naturally implementing something crucial that I didn't know that I truly needed even more of. So that's perfect.
There you go.
Awesome.
Very cool. Carrie, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to speak with me and Lori. It means a lot. And thank you for the information that you gave to us and our viewers. You are a wealth of knowledge. It was an honor having you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Well, hopefully I'll get to see you again soon, and I'll have to wait for a MetFix event. We'll have to plan something. We'll check out more of the podcast and go down the rabbit hole, as it sounds important, and then just stay stay in touch and keep doing great things. We'll keep an eye on all that you're doing and follow you on everything. So, all right.
Awesome. I appreciate it. And you too. Keep it up the good work.